Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about the final options for the player characters in Dragonlance: Shadow of the Dragon Queen, F. Wesley Snyder's amazing 2022 D&D canon hardback. And at this point, we're in Chapter 7, and this is the end of Chapter 7, and this is the end of the entire venture, right? And where we arrive at this point where the Flying Citadel has been brought down. Lord Soth has been defeated, and actually he's kind of been. It's unlikely he's dead at this point. He's kind of been shooed off because he doesn't have the ability to maintain power, right? And all of his plans have been dashed, right? But it's highly unlikely that the player characters have killed Lord Soth. But there's a victory. The Red Dragon Army has been defeated. Lord Soth has been defeated. Tiamat's plans have not taken fruition, right? Casaldi Fire Eyes has been, sent shuffling or killed, right? And Caradoc has been dealt with, and you have this litany of Western Kern has been defeated, like all these major heavy hitters from the Red Dragon Army, and there is literally the Luke, Han, Chewbacca, Leia comes out, and there's actually a Kalaman medallion, right, which is given by Marshal Vendry and Governor Thren to the player characters. They are received as heroes, and there's this huge celebration, and there's literally a medallion. It's literally the same, like the same ending as Star Wars, which is pretty big because one, like, new players are not gonna have seen a lot of people haven't seen Star Wars. I know that sounds like pretty wild, but it's true. Like, a lot, not everybody's seen Star Wars, right? Especially nowadays, right? It's, so they're going to have that moment, or if they have seen Star Wars, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting the same Star Wars ending that Han and Luke got, and at this point they've earned it because they've made this journey all the way through, right? It's really, really epic. It's really incredible. But let's look at what are the player characters' options at this point, because it's pretty incredible, right? So where do we land? So first of all, Marshal Vendry comes forward, and Governor Thren has replaced Governor Miat, right? And Marshal Vendry is like, hey, I'm ready to receive you guys now as Knights of Kalaman. And this gets really interesting because Kalaman is this powerful city in the middle of Solamnia. But at the same time, Kalaman is like, we're the knight, you could be a knight of Kalaman. You could be a knight of this city. Like, you can dedicate yourself to Kalaman. Right, not try to be a knight of Solamnia. That's different, right? But a knight of Kalaman. This city, you just fought for it, you saved it. You can be a knight of Kalaman, and it's a really deep, like, you would be under Marshal Vendry, and you would be giving up your role as an adventurer, but you would become a knight of Kalaman. And what's incredible is, like, it shows the depth of Dungeons and Dragons, because this world has been crafted so beautifully, and Hickman and Weiss pulled their, poured themselves into this back in times when they were younger, when they weren't stubborn and prejudiced, right? And they're still the honored creators of this. They're just not important now because the hotel's being renovated. It's being made better with modern creators, right? But we still honor what they put into it back in the day when they still mattered, right? And so basically, because Dragonlance has all the beautiful work that Hickman and Weiss put in when they weren't prejudiced and stubborn, and F. Wesley Snyder's come and really surpassed Hickman and Weiss at this point and made Dragonlance more relevant and more powerful and more useful than ever, and you have this incredible depiction of Kalaman and Solamnia and Ansalon and Crane and all of that fits into a larger, literally a space, a realm within Spelljammers, and there's like this full mapping of all the D&D realms, and then the D&D realms explode out beyond the D&D realms and all the way to Dominaria and all the way to Legos and all the way to these other places, right? And all the way to Marvel and DC and Star Wars and Hogwarts and because D&D is completely unbound, right? And has propagated farther than any intellectual property has ever been able to do in the history of humans, right? Like, Dungeons & Dragons has accomplished something no other product has ever created, right? It's so deep on product spread, right, and on world connections, that there are worlds that Dungeons and Dragons are connected to that people have forgotten. Like, do you know what a Creon is? Like, do you understand that Minifig is the second, like, modular black toy that, world that D&D, and like Cityville is directly connected to Dungeon? It's astounding, right? Like, and so because of this, you could spend an entire campaign, from 12th level to 20th level being a Knight of Kalaman. And that's a full and robust and incredible ending, right? Like, and the fact that, you have this choice to be a Kalaman Knight, right? A Knight of Kalaman, distinct from a Knight of Solamnia, and that campaign is going to have an incredible, meaningful, powerful flavor that the Knight of Solamnia, that if you choose that if you tried to become a Knight of Solamnia, or if you were already a Knight of Solamnia and now you are giving up your Knight of Solamnia position to become a Knight of Kalaman, it's incredible. It is truly incredible, right? And I think this is one of the things that's so incredibly special about Dungeons and Dragons is the players have all these options, and becoming a Knight of Kalaman is just one option. It's just one option, right? And so when you choose it and you say, I am dedicating myself to being a Knight of Kalaman, right? There's this bittersweet loss, because there's all these other options, which I haven't listed here, but there's literally 4 other options that you can choose. And you arrive at this point where, like, these other options aren't chosen, and there's this bittersweet loss of what could be, right? And that's the power of Dungeons & Dragons, is you get this awesome manifestation of the path you choose, but in your mind you can see these other campaigns that you didn't, right? And there's this bittersweet loss, and it is incredible. It is truly incredible. Knight of Kalaman is just one ending path, right? And I will take the time to discuss the other ending paths, right? That you can get to once you get to the celebration, the Siege of Kalaman celebration, right? Like, and that's just one option, and it is truly incredible to see a D&D canon hardback that takes it the full length. It's incredible. I'm just really astounded by what F. Wesley Snyder accomplished with this book. Every word of that is my humble opinion. What really matters is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful millennium.